thanks for joining us for another episode of Tea and Trowels, the web series from the Florida Public Archaeology Network, where we talk with archaeologists about their research and what archaeology means to them. I'm Emily Jane Murray, one of your hosts, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Mercedes Harrold, who is an archaeologist that serves as the Cultural Resources Coordinator for St. Johns County. Hey, Mercedes, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Emily Jane.
Would you like to introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about the mug that you brought today?
Yes, so I'm Mercedes Harrold, and as Emily Jane said, I'm the Cultural Resources Coordinator for St. Johns County. It's my dream job, so I'm really lucky to have it. Today, I have my St. Augustine Rotary Club cup. It's perfect to take into the office because it fits in my cup holder. Right now, though, I'm working from home, so it's still with me, and it has coffee in it, not tea. Sorry.
Okay, we are strong coffee drinkers in America, but tea and trowels just sounded so great. Well, I also have a mug that I usually travel with, but I'm not traveling with it. But it says, "Trust me, I'm an archaeologist," and I figured that was very apropos for somebody who does compliance and review and has to oversee all sorts of projects and talk to developers and other people about archaeological resources and what the rules and regulations are and why these things are important. So.
Yes, trust me, I'm with the government. I'm here to help.
That always goes well.
Yes.
Awesome. So why did you become an archaeologist?
So in elementary school, my parents actually got me the archaeology magazine for kids called Dig, and I thought archaeology looked like the coolest thing that you could do. And then in middle school, I wanted to be a marine biologist and an archaeologist, and I tried to figure out how could I do both? Can I do both? And then later I found out that I could combine my love for the ocean and archaeology with underwater archaeology. So I set my sights on underwater archaeology. I had my whole life planned out. I was going to go to school, study underwater archaeology, get my master's degree, and have my PhD by the time I was 28. I'm quite off track right now on that goal, but I did go to school for underwater archaeology, and I do have a job in my career, so I'm just on a different track.
Hey, things change, especially I think when I was like 10, I wanted to go to the College of Charleston and be a marine biologist so I could go work at SeaWorld and swim with dolphins. And I don't even think College of Charleston has a marine biology program. So, just massaging those childhood aspirations is okay. Well, could you tell us a little bit about some of your research? And we're tasking people with the Herculean task of trying to keep it under 30 seconds.
Okay, so for my primary job, I review all of the development permits in St. Johns County. And last check, I think we're the fourth or third largest growing county in Florida. So we have a lot of projects to review. And my job is to see if they're going to affect archaeological sites that we know of, or could they affect archaeological sites that we don't know of. So in that regard, if an applicant looks like they're going to affect cultural resources, we have them hire a consultant, and then I get to review the cultural resource assessment surveys that they submit and see if there is anything there. One of my other jobs is to work with our Cultural Resources Review Board, and Emily Jane Murray is our chair, so I'm lucky to work with her and several other people who are very passionate about archaeology and history in St. Johns County.
Very cool. Are there some cool sites in St. Johns County that are your favorite, or that you're always kind of like, oh, maybe somebody will build something close to that so we can learn more about?
The big ones really are Fort Piccolata, which was near the St. Johns River. We haven't found any evidence of it, but it would be very cool if we found it. Fort Payton and the Osceola capture site are very important Seminole Indian War sites in St. Johns County. And while we haven't found definitive evidence, it would be great if we could find evidence of that to help kind of bring awareness to those sites. And then my predecessor did find a Spanish mission site, which would have been is really cool. It would be cool if we found it, something like that.
Well, there's always tomorrow, right? There's always more development.
Always tomorrow.
Good news.
Yeah, there's always more development.
Very cool. So what's your favorite tool in your toolkit right now?
So I'm not going to get any bonus points because I don't have them with me, but my favorite tool is bug spray because I am a bug magnet. But in other ways, my favorite tool is actually a file because you can keep your trowels and your shovels sharpened really well.
I think those are like the unsung heroes of any archaeological project. No one thinks about the importance of keeping
Those are my
bugs
two
away
favorite.
or keeping tools on track. But those are two really important ones. So, do you have a best worst field story that you can now laugh about?
As some of my colleagues, former colleagues from the Southeast Archaeological Center, most of the stories that I can now laugh about occurred in Osceola National Forest. And most of them actually involve bugs as well. One time we were trekking through a road that was now covered in 3 feet of water, and I screamed. And our field supervisor basically thought that I was dying, and he asked me what happened, and I said, I got stung on my face. And he said something along the lines of, oh, I thought it was something more serious, like you got bit by a snake or bit by an alligator. And I was like, but I got stung next to my eyeball. That's pretty serious to me. And my face swelled up. So eventually it went away, but that's one that I could laugh about now, but I didn't think it was funny when it happened.
I too have had, I don't know if the joy or pleasure is the right phrase, of working in the Osceola forest, and it is a pretty wild landscape.
It is indeed. I had several insect encounters in Osceola.
Yeah,
Most of them I don't laugh about.
I was gonna say, I remember the ticks being really bad there, and I was working with a gentleman who was a smoker, and he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, blow your cigarette smoke on me. That's clearly keeping them away from you.
Yes, I tried DEET, all the bug sprays, natural bug spray, and it never worked. I still was the magnet of all of them. So I think I was a lot of people's favorite field partner because I attracted all of the bugs.
When in doubt, you just bring somebody else as an attractant. That's a good plan.
Yes, that's what I need to find.
Someone who loves them more than they love you. There you go.
Yeah.
So our last question is our big question. How do you think archaeology is going to save the world?
So I think the fact that a lot of our archaeology, especially that I work on, is historical archaeology, and we have the ability to use the archaeological record to have tangible evidence of that historical record. And I think having that knowledge will help us in the long run. And then it also provides information about things that happened in the past that we don't have any historical records. So the fact that we have the archaeological record to have this tangible evidence to tell us how people have lived for tens of thousands of years, I think can help us plan for what we're going to do in this world.
I think that's a really good, not just to have the historic documents, but then to have the tangible thing. I like to joke that archaeologists are all like the ultimate skeptics. I'm like, oh, somebody did that. Yeah, well, show it to me in the ground and then I'll believe it. So,
yes, I agree.
Can never quite decide how truthful those historic documents are. So, well, great thoughts on that. So we do have one kind of fun bonus question. What's keeping you sane during your quarantine?
So our quarantine is a little bit different. St. Johns County is actually trying to be business as usual as much as we could possibly be for the community. So on days where I have meetings, I actually go into the office, and then on other days I do have the ability to work from home. But in general, coffee has been keeping me sane during quarantine. My Keurig machine is working overtime, and I appreciate it a lot.
Coffee, that sweet elixir of life. I am definitely up on my coffee intake as well. So.
Yes, and we have been, besides quarantine and being in the process of moving, we've also been funding a lot of Starbucks runs, but now all of the Starbucks are closed in our area. So my Keurig machine will probably be in even more use.
Gotta make it through somehow. Well, thanks for joining and chatting with us, and thanks to everybody who is watching along at home. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.